Hello, hello, everyone. Good morning. Happy Memorial Day. Bree Sedano here, coming to you live. And today we are talking about inflation. So I'm super pumped to have this talk with you today. All right. So if this is your first time ever catching me live, please say hello in the comments so that way I know that you're here. If you're somebody who watches all the time, also please say hello so that way I know that you're here. I feel like I have something on my lipstick. All right. And if you're new, tell me that you're new so that way I can welcome you. All right. So, in this quick talk, what we're going to talk about today is inflation, right? Inflation has been the topic on the news. And I feel like everybody who has to buy gas or buy food or pretty much anything is feeling the squeeze. So, as you're coming on live, let me know if you have experienced some of the squeezing of the inflation. All right, so let me know. All right, so that's what we're going to talk about today. All right, so first I want to explain kind of what inflation is. All right, so inflation means that the financial supply is increasing, right? And so during COVID, we saw that the government they printed some money, right? Do you remember getting all those stimulus checks? Right? There was a lot of influx of money into the economic system, right? So there's more money in the system than there was before, and when that is what happens, then the prices go up. Now, if you think about inflation, like if you talk to anybody who's older than you talk to your mom, dad, grandparents, inflation is a constant, right? And when you even plan for retirement or when you're talking about pensions, people talk about inflation because inflation is a constant and it will perpetually be eroding the value of your dollars as their current state, because as more and more money becomes available in the system of money, every single dollar buys a little less and prices will go up. Now, prices will go up, but also when you really think about it, like the access to wealth is higher than it's ever been. Like when you really think about it, like most of us have internet, we have air conditioning, we have heat, we have like your spice cabinet. Like you yourself have probably eaten more food spiced, like better than kings and queens, right? And so as the wealth goes up, your ability to expand into that is part of it. So inflation, when you're inflation is a double-edged sword. So if you're somebody who's not making more, and that increase in prices will make you feel very squeezed. If you're somebody who's growing and expanding, that increased wealth that's available becomes more available to you also. So it's a really a double-edged sword. So here, the first point that I want to make for you today is you cannot beat inflation with cutting back. The other day I watched, I follow a lot of money people, a lot of money, a lot of money topics, right? And so I saw this post the other day about how to beat inflation, and it was like, all right, well, cut your meat down 2 days a week. Eat just vegetables for dinner. And I was like, okay, and like carpool or take public transportation instead of driving your car with all the gasoline. And I'm like, okay. And there were a couple, get a roommate and share your space or rent out a room in your house. And I was like, okay. Here's the thing though, is that inflation is permanent, and like prices are not coming back down. Like they're going to stay up. So if you make these cuts, right? So if you cut your groceries and you decide that you're not going to eat meat 2 days a week, or you get a roommate to beat the inflation, chances are those cutbacks are going to stay with you because the price is only going to go up, right? And there's nothing wrong with doing any of those things. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, I mean, we could probably all benefit from eating vegetables a little bit more frequently anyhow. But the point that I want to make is that you cannot beat inflation with cutbacks. It will not work. It is a very, very temporary solution to a very, very permanent problem. And I want to just tell you a quick story to just demonstrate that to you, and then we'll get into the rest of my talk today. I had a client when I was a stockbroker who was well into his 70s at this point, and he retired from the Philadelphia police force in 1984. Now, that was the year that I was born, actually. And his pension was $1,000 a month. Now, in 1984, when you factor in for inflation, that was worth about $3,200 a few years ago. And so now it was probably worth, it's probably worth different. So his pension did not have what's called a cost of living adjustment. So if you're familiar with pensions, sometimes it's called a COLA, cost of living adjustment, and it means that your pension would go up 3% every year to cover the inflation. His pension did not have that, right? So fast forward 20 years, and he's living in Connecticut off of $1,000 a month was his pension. Well, in 1984, $1,000, was plenty of money. It was a very different amount of purchasing power than it is now, than it is today. And so if he and that fella really did just cut back. He just cut back and cut back and cut back. And by the time I saw him, the money that he had in savings was almost gone because he didn't protect himself from inflation. Now, this fellow was extra super duper screwed because he also wasn't capable of working anymore. He was well into he was well into retirement. And so it just was what it was for him. But his financial situation really deteriorated over time, not because he made bad choices, not because he overspent, not because he took any wrong action other than not protecting himself against inflation, right? So when we're talking about investments, in general, investments are going to rise faster than inflation. That's why everybody talks about investing your money. Put money on your 401k, put money in this, put money in that. It's because generally the stock market, the value, because the value of that's available in the world is increasing. These big companies make money, they turn a profit, and if you're invested, your money should be growing faster than inflation if you're investing. Now, of course, this depends on your individual choice, and there's more to it than that. But just for the sake of my discussion, that's why you would invest, right? It's so your money will grow, and it's going to grow faster than inflation, assuming you make good investment choices, right? So when we're not taking care of that inflation, it erodes the value of our money. So here's the deal. If you're still in your working ages, if you're still working, the thing that you need to be focused on is making more money, because cutting back is not a permanent solution. So like right now, as prices go up and whatever, you feel the squeeze, you can make cuts temporarily, but that inflation it's going to be a thing. And every now and then inflation spikes, and then they'll raise interest rates to get the inflation back down into control. But also, it's not going away. You're going to continue to see inflation from now until forever, because that's always been the case. Talk to anybody 50 years older than you and ask, hey, how much was a gallon of milk when you were a kid? How much was it? People, if you talk to somebody old enough, they will tell you cents. They won't even say dollars, right? When I was a kid, I remember going into 7-Eleven to buy milk, and it was $2.50. I remember that when the price went to $3, my dad was butthurt about it, right? And now when I'm buying milk in my neighborhood, $7, $8. If I buy fancy milk, it'll cross the $10 a gallon, right? We see it with gas. We see it with the price of chocolate. We see it with the price of everything. So when it comes to making more money, there's really two things to consider when you're making more money. One side of your earning, the earning side is the potential, right? And so earning potential, let's just think about it in terms of internal and external. So earning potential, we're going to call external. So this has to do with your location, what your field is, what your education is, what your experience is, where you work, these sort of things, those sort of things, right? The other side is capacity. It's your internal ability to earn, right? And so nobody really talks about this, but this makes a huge, huge difference. And here's why, is because when inflation comes and we have to go and get more, we have to push past some of our social conditionings and some of like like our comfort zone. We have to push past those things. So I have a little metaphor. I have a little metaphor for you here. So if you're just hopping on, please say hello to me in the comments. Say, let me know that you're here. Let me know if you're. Let me also know if you're feeling the squeeze of inflation. Just let me know if you're feeling squeezed. All right. So I'm going to tell you a little weird story about an unfair Easter egg hunt. Right. So this is some metaphor that I made up. All right. So imagine there's an Easter egg hunt. Now you have an Easter basket where you're going to go and collect your eggs and you're going to put those eggs in there. Right. And you have your ability to go get the eggs, right? So that's so that your Easter basket would be your earning potential. It's how many eggs could fit into your basket. And the other thing is about you. It's how much you're going to push, how much you are going to go get, right? So in this unfair Easter egg hunt, some people are born with inherently bigger Easter baskets. Some people are smarter. Some people they have skills that are just more marketable. Some people inherited Easter baskets or have family Easter baskets and they didn't even have to get their own, right? It's just the way that it is. It's the unfair Easter egg hunt. The earning capacity, though, that's your ability to be efficient, to go get it, to ask for more, to go get the Easter eggs. So in this Easter egg hunt, we're just going to say inflation means that you thought you were doing okay with the Easter eggs, and then all of a sudden there's way more Easter eggs. There's way more. There's just so many more. And so now that there's this many more Easter baskets, or there's this many more Easter eggs, your basket is maybe okay, maybe feeling a little small. But the thing is, most of the time when you have to go get a different Easter basket, it requires a massive investment of something. And so back out of my metaphor, that's when we're talking about upgrading our education. We're going to go back for another degree, or we're going to do something more. But I'll tell you what, I've been talking with a lot of women over a very long period of time. And what I find is most of the time they have so much more potential than they do capacity. So let me just explain what earning capacity is in the realm of the unfair Easter egg hunt metaphor. Let's just say you feel a little guilty that your Easter basket is a little bit bigger than somebody else's. So you just slow down a little bit. Or you're afraid that if you were to really go and push, somebody else wouldn't like you, or they would say mean things about you, or it would become very unfair how many Easter eggs you had versus how many Easter eggs they had, right? These are earning capacity issues. Let's say you're just afraid. You're afraid to go push through, go out of your normal place where you're just looking for Easter eggs, right? And so when we want to make more, right? And so in this little metaphor about the Easter eggs, the thing is most of the time people go and they get the bigger and the bigger baskets. And sometimes that's necessary. Sometimes it really is. But most of the time there's a lot of capacity that's untapped. It's not about trying. It's sometimes about efficiency. Sometimes it's about actually working less. Sometimes it's about figuring it out. But when you want to make more money and beat inflation, you have to feel 100% deserving to make more. You have to learn to see that the value of the work that you do is increasing along with the world's wealth supply. These things both increase at the same time. So here's the deal. So look, Amy says it perfectly. So she says that inflation feels like it's dialed back all the progress we made. And it's 100% true. That's totally true, because now the money that you currently make is worth less. And so cutting back, not the answer. You have to learn to make more. You have to learn to make more. And the reason that I'm offering 30 days to get a raise is to really help my clients work on that internal earning capacity, because that is generally the issue for women. That is generally what holds women back. Do you know women are outpacing men in college degrees? Women are not earning to their fullest potential, not because of the size of their Easter baskets, but because they're not conditioned to go after the Easter eggs, right? And so, do you know what else is? A lot of my clients are the primary breadwinners in their houses. They're single moms. They're, and it doesn't matter. The truth is you should be paid properly for your work, whether you have a penis or a vagina. That's what it really comes down to. You should be making appropriate amounts of money regardless of your genitals. It's got nothing your what the value of the work that you deliver has nothing to do. But here's where it gets tangled up is a lot of times women have social conditionings around sometimes we have shame on our desires. So imagine you're going to get the Easter eggs, but you actually feel ashamed of yourself for picking up the Easter eggs. You're like, I want a ton of Easter eggs, but I'm literally embarrassed with myself for wanting more Easter eggs. Sometimes we feel guilty at the unfair Easter egg hunt because it's not fair. And that slows us down. We feel guilty. We feel guilty for going to get more Easter eggs because somebody else needed these Easter eggs and da da da. And the metaphor is a little silly, but the truth is these things really, really happen. And if this resonates for you, let me know in the comments. Like if I'm talking to you, let me know. Sometimes it's fear, sometimes it's comfort zone. But these are the things that really, really hold women back when it comes to the earning capacity, when it comes to the unfair Easter egg hunt. Now, the reason why I'm really harping on this right now is because with inflation, if you decide to cut back, you're going to lose ground. You're going to leave less wealth to your kids. You're going to take less vacations. You're going to have less lifestyle. And that fucking infuriates me. Unless you choose to on purpose. Like if that's your life choice, then I fully love and support whatever it is you're choosing to do. But the thing is if it's social conditioning that makes you feel like you can't, that it's wrong, that it's not fair, that it's not going to work, that it's not available for somebody like you, that it's only available for rich people, that's nonsense. And that is the whole reason why I do this is because do you know what I see when my clients make more money? I follow them on Facebook. I follow all of my clients on Facebook. I stalk their lives. And so I know many of my clients follow up with me for years and years after we've worked together. And I hear about their raises and I know the amount of lifestyle that they get. I know that they're saving for their retirements and they're saving for their kids' educations and they're getting new kitchen counters. And I see that they're taking, they're doing experiences and they're taking better care of their health and they're really living their lives. And that's what I want to see. So inflation can be an opportunity to cut back even but just by staying still, or it can be an opportunity to grow and to grow into your next big thing. And it doesn't even have to be a big thing. Sometimes it's literally just negotiating a raise to stay the same. But if you don't do anything when it comes to inflation, you're taking a step back because the world isn't growing and expanding. And if you're not growing and expanding, you're moving backwards. And unless you choose to do that on purpose with your whole heart and soul, like, you know what? I actually just don't want anymore. Okay, cool. But for most of us, if you're still raising a family, if you're still wanting to go places, you're still wanting to live your life, you have to earn more. And I don't want any of those like little hangups of the unfair Easter egg hunt, the shame, the guilt, the fear, the not feeling worthy, the not feeling deserving, the feeling like you just need a bigger Easter basket, like you need another training, another class to be holding you back. It's really both sides. So anyways, 30 days to get a raise is my new offer, and it's all about increasing that internal earning capacity. It's about getting rid of any bad feelings you have around making more. It's about really feeling and noticing your own sense of worthiness, your own sense of deserving. It's seeing the fullness of the value that you actually bring to the table and whatever it is you do, whether you own a business, whether you're an employee, but it's seeing the fullness of the value that you bring to the table so that way you can receive fair compensation for it. This is one of the biggest ways women shortchange themselves is they're like, oh, it's so easy for me. Oh, it only takes me a minute. Oh, I love doing it, so I'll charge less for it. No. So these are some of the things that we're going to be working on. in 30 days to get a raise. And I'm super, super excited about this because I know that it works. Because I've worked with so many clients and I know that this stuff really, really works in terms of earning capacity. And I want to see you and every single woman that you know who wants to make more money. I want to see her make more money. You know why? Because the world is a better place when good women have access to resources. When we're well resourced, we make a bigger difference in the world. And it's just the way that it is. So anyways, so 30 days to get a raise. The pre-work, the container opens and the pre-work starts tomorrow. The first lesson drops June 6th. This work is work that I've personally done over and over and over again. And if you don't know me, if you haven't heard my story, if you don't know anything, but I mean, I worked in a nonprofit making like $32,000 a year for a very long period of time. I've grown this business from brand spanking new, making nothing. Last year we did more than $500,000, and that is in 4 years. And I'm telling you that this work, this earning capacity work, feeling my own sense of self-trust, feeling my own sense of deserving, seeing the value that I deliver to the world, this all plays a huge role in my ability to increase my earning capacity. And this is the same stuff that I've taught my clients. And if you, I mean, I'm not going to tell you all the stories right now because it's just like a lot. But if you go back, if you check out my stuff, you'll see like I have clients doubling their businesses. I had a real estate agent go from making $3,000 a month to $18,000 a month in a 12, 15 months. You know, I've had clients get $10,000 raises, $12,000 raises, $15,000 raises. I have a client in Cash Confident that just got a 55% raise. I have a client who went from 40 grand to 60 grand and then asked for another 5 grand on top of it. Was going from 40,000 to 65,000 in less than a year. I've had a client who was a social worker doing $24,000. Within a few months, she got a job making 60,000. Why? Because she felt worthy of it. She felt deserving of it and she applied for the job. She asked for it. So sometimes we have to really look at both of our capacity and our earning potential. Sometimes it's both. Sometimes it's both. And that's what I teach in 30 days to get a raise. And I'm just I'm like excited about it because I know that this stuff works and I really, really I just want to see everybody use this inflationary time to go and get more instead of less. You know, I want to see my clients thriving. It lights me up. I'm like the biggest nerd about it. So, anyways, that program is open. It's $555. You know, I'm it's just totally worth it because this is work you'll go back to over and over and over again. Every time you want to make more money, you're going to go back to your workbooks. You're going to rethink about it. You're going to look at it. You're going to settle in. You're going to go to the next level. I've literally done these exact processes for myself a zillion times, these exact same things. And that's how I went from zero to $500,000 in 4 years. Like, listen to me talk. I'm special because I take action, but really, like, I'm a B student. I have a bachelor's degree, but nothing crazy, and I just make it. It just happens because I believe that I'm worthy of it. I believe that I deserve it. I see the value that I bring to the world. I ask for what I want, and then that's it. That's the recipe, man. So I want to teach you all my secrets. I want to teach you the secrets I've been teaching my clients. So 30 days to get a raise opens tomorrow. The content starts June 6th. There is a payment plan if that is better for you. The link is in the description. And that's it. If you have any questions or you want to know anything more, feel free to shoot me a message. I will be in my DMs today. I love you. I appreciate you. Enjoy your holiday. Bye, everyone.